Hey folks, this is Kalani. There have been a lot of recent changes to the Mr. Pandaria Remix event which improved the rewards from certain areas of the game while nerfing others into oblivion. There have also been various buffs to experience gains which can open up more options for how and where to level your characters. You can actually level super quickly if you know what you're doing, and we got some tips and tricks to help get all of your characters up to level 70 in record time. So let's go through the best and fastest ways to level up your characters in the Mr. Pandaria Remix event with all of these recent changes in place. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. Before we talk about your leveling options and which ones are going to be the best, the most important aspect of this event is your cloak. Whether you are leveling, farming, gearing, grinding, whatever your goal is going to be, the cloak will carry you to victory. But you need to power up your cloak with threads. Every kind of content will reward you with threads, but some are vastly more rewarding. We'll touch on this as we go through the various options you have for leveling. Just keep in mind that the more threads you get, the better and faster everything will be. So getting threads should be one of your main goals if you want to level quickly. Now you do have quite a few different options for leveling up in the new Remix event. Your first option is to just work through the various quests and quest lines. You'll get dropped in at the Jade Forest for your first leveling zone, but as you level up, more and more zones will become available. You don't have to finish the Jade Forest before moving on. You can jump from zone to zone whether you get bored or just want something new. If you're looking to level quickly, I would actually recommend starting up a new zone when quests start to slow down. Typically, the earlier quests in a zone are much faster, there are more quests available, and they're quick and easy to complete. As you get to the later quests, they usually take longer and you have less quests at a time. It's mainly due to those quests being more important for the story, but if you feel things slow down considerably quest-wise, it might just be worth jumping into a new zone. Now the main drawback through leveling just through quests is that you won't be earning as many threads for your cloak, so not only will you have lower bonus experience on your cloak by the end of things, slowing down your overall leveling, but you'll also have lower stat values which will make your character much weaker by the time you get to level 70. Another option you have is to queue up for random normal dungeons. You'll get bonus XP for each dungeon you complete, and killing everything in the dungeon will provide you with good experience and loot, including threads for your cloak. A recent, very important change is that normal dungeon bosses now also drop bonus XP, so they're worth running more when compared to before these updates went through. Dungeons also provide you with a decent loot as you level, increasing your power level further. Now queue times can be a problem. If you're playing as a DPS, your queues are going to be decently long, at least compared to tanks or healers, so while waiting for your dungeon queues to pop, be sure to clear through quests in the meantime so you are constantly earning experience. Now, the better option for XP gains here is actually going to be heroic dungeons. Heroic dungeons are a little harder when compared to normal dungeons, but they're worth so much more in terms of experience and loot. You'll get the same random queue bonus, and each boss also drops a big XP token worth a massive chunk of experience. These tokens from heroic bosses are worth quite a bit more when compared to normal dungeons, so this is when the main difference comes in. It will depend on your level and bonus experience buff, but I usually get at least 2 levels per heroic dungeon clear, which is mostly thanks to the big experience tokens from each boss. So if you're wanting to level as quickly as possible, heroic dungeons are one of your best options. If for whatever reason you are struggling to get through the heroic dungeons, normal dungeons would then end up being more efficient thanks to the XP token update. If it takes you forever to clear through a heroic dungeon, it's definitely not going to be worth it, so it depends on whether you can do them or not. Oddly enough, heroic dungeons are actually easier when you are a lower level, simply because the scaling for the Remix event isn't all that great. It's a bit of a mess, but as you level up you do less comparative damage and you get hit like a truck. It's definitely not ideal, but when you're a low level you can hard carry groups through heroic dungeons. It's kind of funny, but it does get harder as you progress in levels. That doesn't stop heroic dungeons being amazing experience though. It's also worth noting that there is an achievement for completing all of the dungeons on heroic mode. That achievement will reward you with one of only 2 rings in the entire event, so everyone will want to get this achievement done eventually. With heroic dungeons being easier at lower levels and while you're leveling up, I would actually try to get them done as early as you can just to make that achievement a bit easier. But the real MVP of leveling in this remix event are the raids. Now sadly, LFR was basically neutered when compared to the PTR testing, so much so that I doubt you could even get a group for most of the LFR versions of the raid. I've seen multi-hour queues for every single wing, so they won't be anything close to quick leveling if the queue never pops. Now there was a recent hotfix that increased the rewards of LFR, including a 7% bonus XP buff for clearing each wing. That's not too bad, but it still pales in comparison to some of the other raid rewards on offer. These hotfixes may make LFR more worthwhile though, and could significantly reduce queue times if enough people think the new rewards are worth the time investment. If you absolutely refuse to do normal raids, which I would highly recommend you at least try before writing them off, LFR might still be a good option for you. It will ultimately come down to that queue time though. But normal raids are incredibly lucrative, almost too lucrative. Not only does every boss kill give you a massive amount of experience, but they are guaranteed to drop a 12% bonus experience thread as well. Every single boss. There are 6 bosses in the Mogashan Vault raid, so if you kill each one that is an easy 72% bonus XP for your cloak, so everything else you do for experience is worth so much more already. Vault becomes available at level 25, so you can hop in as early as 25 to start earning these crazy chunks of bonus XP. Now I know what you're thinking, raids on normal? There's no way we can do that, especially while leveling, but the raids on normal are quite easy, especially at lower levels. I think they're actually easier than heroic dungeons, and due to the weird scaling going on, they're actually quite a lot easier when you are a lower level too, so there's more incentive to get these raids done early in your leveling process. In my opinion, you should try to complete the raid on normal as soon as you are a high enough level to join up. Most groups actually want lower leveled folks a lot of the time, so it's easy to get into groups as well. There are also so many groups constantly in the group finder, so oftentimes you can get straight into a group, making it much faster than LFR raids or even random dungeon queues. More raids become available as you level up. Heart of Fear is available at level 35, and then Terrace of Endless Springs is available at level 40. Both of these raids are relatively easy. I think they're harder than Vault, and Heart of Fear is probably harder than Terrace, so if you can get those done as well, you're going to massively ramp up your bonus XP on your cloak, which will just speed up your leveling no matter what else you do. But the most important factor here is that raids are not on a weekly lockout for the remix event, they are on a daily lockout, so you can do these raids every single day, get all of those guaranteed threads, and get those massive chunks of experience. Raids are probably the single most important activity in this event for the crazy rewards on offer. You also don't have to kill all of the bosses, so even if you only get a few boss kills in per day per raid, that's going to add up over time. The daily lockout makes it much easier to just get parts of the raid done because it's not this big weekly activity that everyone gets locked out of if the raid isn't completed. It resets the very next day anyway, so if you don't kill all the bosses a few times, it's really not a big deal. But either way, raids are going to be one of the best sources of bonus experience gains and experience in general while leveling, so that's probably the most important thing you can work towards if you're wanting to get some quick levels in. Now, no matter how you decide to level, be sure to pop by the Infinite Bazaar to pick up the daily quests for an extra free bit of experience too, as well as some easy bronze currency. With so many activities being a daily lockout, be sure to pick these up before you start your adventures for the day. When you put all of this together, you can level very quickly in MoP Remix, especially if you take advantage of the crazy raid thread rewards. But where this event really shines is with your ults. The more you power up your cloak on one character, the more powerful your ults will be right at the very beginning. Now initially, it was assumed that all of your cloak's power would carry over to ults, but that's not the case at all. Instead, your ults start with a more powerful cloak, depending on how many infinite power achievements you have unlocked. Infinite power achievements are earned by collecting threads, so the more threads you collect, the more infinite power achievements you get, and then the stronger your ult cloak will be. But your ult's cloak is tied to these achievements, not how many threads you have on your main's cloak or how your main's cloak actually looks, which makes it both quite confusing but also way less impactful than initially hinted at. Basically, your ult's cloak has a cap of how good it can be. The higher the achievements you unlock in the infinite power category, the better that starting cloak is on your ults. Here's a cloak with infinite power 10 unlocked, then infinite power 11, and then the last infinite power achievement, which is infinite power 12. You can see that all of the stats increase, but that bonus experience gains goes from 50% to 100% for the last achievement, so getting these achievements on your main is super important if you're wanting to get the most powerful cloak on your ult right away. As a quick note, if you're ever wanting to refresh your cloak's buff on an ult after getting some higher achievements, just unequip the cloak and re-equip it. You'll get the larger passive bonus after re-equipping it, just in case you're running around on some ults you made earlier on in the event. So this does make it even more important to focus on one character at a time. I would get yourself to at least infinite power 11 before starting to make your ults, but I made sure to grab infinite power 12 just so all of my ults are as powerful as they can be. With the best cloak stats available right at level 10, your ults can carry any kind of content thanks to the messed up scaling. I jumped straight into heroic dungeons at level 10 where I would 1 or 2 shot most mobs, kill bosses in under 20 seconds, and level at least 2 times per dungeon run. It only took me 5 runs to get up to level 25, and then I started jumping into raids. As a healer, you get instant Qs and your damage will still carry the run. As a DPS, your Qs are longer, but your DPS is insane, so your runs will be super quick. As a tank, you have short Qs and are almost unkillable. If you want to have a laugh, make a monk, go Brewmaster, and just spam spinning crane kick. Probably the most fun I've had at low levels so far. If you feel like your ults aren't starting out very powerful, it's probably because you don't have infinite power 12 unlocked. So I would just play one character, play one main character, do the raids and collect threads until you have at least infinite power 11, preferably infinite power 12. Then you can make ults and go ham. My priest at level 46 had 393% bonus experience on the cloak. That's kinda crazy, and with that much bonus XP, it almost doesn't matter what else you do to level up to 70, it's going to fly by no matter what. Now if you really want to min-max your leveling to get your ult army suited up in record time, get each ult that you want to level to level 25 and then just do the raids. Do the raids on one character, and as soon as you've done as many as you can or want to, repeat the process on another character. Just do the raids. So instead of leveling each ult to 70 before working on the next one, level them all up at the same time through the raids with that daily lockout. With the crazy thread rewards, you will probably end up way above 500% bonus XP by the time you hit level 70. You'll also be earning a bunch of threads as you go, so your characters will be pretty powerful at level 70, which will help with that bad scaling until it gets fixed. Eventually, the raids are going to start rewarding you with multiple levels per kill. When my priest went into the Heart of Fear at level 35, it leveled all the way to level 40, so 5 levels just from that one raid. Then I was high enough to go into Terrace of Endless Springs right away, and that raid only has 4 bosses, but my priest gained 6 levels in that single raid. So it should actually only take you maybe 4 or so days of daily raid lockouts to get an ult all the way up to 70. My priest did Vault twice, Heart once, and Terrace once, and is level 46. That's kinda crazy when you consider that these raids can take as little as 20 to 30 minutes, at least for the starting ones. If you're curious, my current record for clearing vaults is 17 minutes, and that's still with a pug group. These aren't organised groups whatsoever, everyone is just mashing keys hoping for the best. But that's how you can get the most bonus experience on your cloak, which leveling options are the best, and the fastest way to level your ults right now in Mr. Pandaria Remix. Have you managed to get to level 70 yet, or are you still working on your first character? How did you decide to level, and how long did it take? Did you know about the infinite power achievements and how they affect your ult's cloak power level? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you'd like to add your name to the end of every video and a special shout out at the start of the next video, you can find links in the description over to Patreon or click the join button just below this video. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.